Welcome back to Elderly Smiles. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and click the bell icon to stay updated. Let's begin the discussion.
Have you ever thought about what it truly means? Like what it really means to live a fulfilling life? Especially as we get older. I was reading this story the other day about a woman, let's call her Eleanor.
You okay?
Who found herself at a crossroads, in her late 60s.
It's a time of life that often brings about, significant transitions. Kids grow up, careers wind down.
Right.
And you're faced with that question of, what now?
Exactly. And for Eleanor, that question, it became very real when she decided to close her bakery after 34 years.
Wow.
She had poured her heart and soul into that business, raised her two daughters, Claire and Sophia, all on her own, after her husband passed away.
It's a familiar story for many, especially women of that generation. That societal expectation to prioritize family often meant putting personal dreams and aspirations on hold.
Absolutely. And for Eleanor, that meant long hours, physical strain, even a herniated disc from all the lifting and baking.
Oh, wow.
But she persevered, determined to provide for her girls. And she did a fantastic job. Both of her daughters grew up, got married, and started families of their own.
Which is what led to this pivotal moment for Eleanor, right?
Yeah.
Her daughters, seeing her age and the toll the bakery had taken on her health, offered to have her move in with them. It was a loving gesture, wanting to care for their mom in her later years.
You'd think she'd jump at the chance, right?
Yeah.
To finally relax and let someone else take care of things. But Eleanor, she surprised everyone.
Really?
Including herself, by politely declining their offer.
Huh. What do you think was going through her mind?
Reading the story, it seemed like Eleanor recognized the importance of keeping her independence.
Yeah.
Not just for herself, but for her daughters, too. She understood that true love involves giving space for growth and respecting individual choices.
It's a subtle but profound point, isn't it? Sometimes the most loving act is to allow our loved ones the freedom to live their own lives, to make their own decisions, even if those decisions differ from what we might envision for them.
And it's a message that resonates across generations. It's about recognizing that as we age, our roles and relationships change. But the need for autonomy and purpose, that remains constant.
Absolutely.
So Eleanor, she decided to embark on a journey of self-discovery.
Oh, wow.
She wanted to explore what it meant to live a fulfilling life on her own terms. And along the way, she stumbled upon three key insights. 3 treasures, as she called them.
Okay.
That transformed her perspective and brought her a profound sense of joy and purpose.
These weren't material treasures, I'm assuming.
No. They were insights into the essential elements of a well-lived life, particularly in those later years. And what's fascinating is that these treasures, they're accessible to all of us.
Oh, interesting.
Regardless of our age or circumstances.
I like that.
Okay, so let's dive into those treasures. What was the first one that Eleanor uncovered?
The first treasure was the realization that health is freedom. Now, this wasn't about becoming an athlete.
Right.
Or obsessing over every calorie. It was about understanding that taking care of her physical well-being, it was an act of self-love, an act of empowerment.
I love that because it shifts the focus away from external expectations, societal pressures, and brings it back to our own individual needs and choices.
Right.
It's about recognizing that our health is our responsibility. And that by prioritizing it, we're giving ourselves the gift of freedom.
Freedom.
Freedom to move with ease, engage in activities we enjoy, and to live life to the fullest.
Precisely. And for Eleanor, this realization, it came through a series of small but significant steps.
Okay.
After closing the bakery, she started by simply taking short walks around her neighborhood.
It's amazing how something as simple as walking can have such a profound impact. It's not about becoming a marathon runner. It's about moving our bodies, connecting with our surroundings, and breathing in fresh air.
Exactly. And for Eleanor, those walks gradually became longer, her stamina increased,
Right.
and she started to feel a sense of vitality she hadn't experienced in years. It was a gradual process, but the benefits were undeniable.
So she started with walking.
Yeah.
What was the next step in her journey towards health as freedom?
Well, one day, while she was walking in the park, she noticed a group of people practicing yoga. She had never tried yoga before, but she was curious.
I bet.
She approached the instructor, a kind woman named Sarah,
Okay.
and asked if she could join.
Now, I can imagine that taking up yoga in your late 60s might seem daunting.
Yeah.
But Eleanor wasn't one to let fear hold her back.
That's right. She had this incredible spirit of adventure, a willingness to step outside of her comfort zone, and that's what I find so inspiring about her story. It's never too late to try something new, to challenge ourselves, and to discover hidden talents and passions.
So Eleanor joined the yoga class. What was her experience like?
At first it was challenging.
I can imagine.
Her body was stiff, she felt self-conscious, and she couldn't quite keep up with the younger participants. But Sarah, the instructor, was incredibly patient and encouraging. She showed Eleanor modifications for the poses.
Oh, nice.
Reassured her that everyone progresses at their own pace, and emphasized the importance of listening to her body.
That supportive environment must have made a world of difference.
Absolutely. And gradually, Eleanor began to feel the benefits of the practice. Her flexibility improved, her pain from the herniated disc lessened.
That's great.
And she felt a sense of calmness and centeredness that she had never experienced before.
It's incredible how yoga can have such a profound impact on both our physical and mental well-being.
Yeah.
It's not just about stretching and strengthening. It's about connecting with our breath, cultivating mindfulness, and finding a sense of inner peace.
And for Eleanor, that sense of inner peace, it was a revelation. She realized that true health wasn't just about the absence of pain or illness. It was about a holistic sense of well-being that encompassed her physical, mental, and emotional states.
That's such a powerful insight. It's about recognizing that our health is multifaceted and that taking care of ourselves involves nurturing all aspects of our being. So Eleanor discovered the first treasure, health as freedom, through walking and yoga. What was the second treasure that transformed her life?
Well, as Eleanor's health improved, she found herself with more energy and a desire to connect with others in a meaningful way. She had spent so many years focused on her daughters and her business that she hadn't really cultivated friendships or pursued activities outside of work and family.
It's easy to get caught up in the busyness of life and neglect our social needs.
Yeah.
Especially as we get older and our social circles might change due to retirement, relocation, or the loss of loved ones.
Exactly. And Eleanor was starting to feel that sense of isolation. She missed having regular interactions with people who shared her interests and passions.
So what did she do to address that need for connection?
One day, while she was walking through her neighborhood, she noticed a flyer for volunteers at the local community garden.
Oh.
She had always loved flowers, but she had never considered herself a gardener. But something about the flyer sparked her curiosity.
I love that she was open to trying something new, even though it was outside of her comfort zone.
And that's the beauty of stepping outside of our familiar routines. It opens us up to new experiences, new connections, and new possibilities.
So Eleanor decided to give the community garden a try. What was her experience like?
She was a bit apprehensive at first, not knowing anyone or having any gardening experience.
Yeah.
But as soon as she arrived at the garden, she was greeted with warm smiles and friendly introductions.
Oh.
There were people of all ages and backgrounds,
Nice.
all united by a love of nature and a desire to contribute to their community.
That sense of shared purpose and camaraderie must have been incredibly welcoming.
It was. Eleanor quickly felt a sense of belonging. She learned about different plants and gardening techniques. She shared stories and laughter with her fellow volunteers.
Yeah.
And she felt a deep sense of satisfaction in contributing to something larger than herself.
It's amazing how something as simple as gardening can create such meaningful connections. It's a reminder that we don't have to do grand or extraordinary things to make a difference in the world or in our own lives.
Right.
Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness, service, and connection can have the most profound impact.
And for Eleanor, the community garden became more than just a place to grow vegetables and flowers. It became a source of friendship, support, and purpose. She looked forward to her volunteer days. She cherished the bond she formed with her fellow gardeners, and she felt a renewed sense of vitality and engagement.
That's so inspiring. It's a reminder that no matter our age, we all have something valuable to contribute, and that meaningful connections can blossom in the most unexpected places. So we've covered the first two treasures: health as freedom and the power of meaningful connections. What was the third treasure that Eleanor uncovered on her journey?
So before we dive into Eleanor's third treasure, let's take a moment to recap. the incredible journey that she's already embarked on. She chose independence, right, over convenience, embraced this idea of health is freedom through walking and yoga, and then found that joy of connection at the community garden, each step bringing her closer to a more fulfilling life.
It's truly inspiring to see how she took what could have been a period of decline and turned it into a time of, like, growth and rediscovery. But okay, I gotta know, what was that third treasure? What else did she find along the way?
Well, you know, for years, Eleanor harbored the secret passion, like a dream she tucked away amidst the demands of raising kids and running her bakery.
Oh, a secret passion. What was it?
Music, specifically playing the piano. Ever since she was a little girl, Eleanor was just mesmerized by the piano.
Oh, wow.
She loved how it could, like, evoke a whole range of emotions. From joy to sorrow, from peace to excitement. She would spend hours listening to her grandmother play, dreaming of the day that she, you know, could create such beautiful melodies herself.
But life got in the way, right?
Yeah.
Responsibilities of being a single mom, the demands of running a business, those things, they take precedence.
Exactly. And Eleanor, being the selfless person that she was, always put her daughter's needs first. She worked tirelessly to provide for them, to give them opportunities, you know, that she never had. And somewhere along the way, that dream of playing the piano, well, it just kind of faded into the background.
Until now, it seems. So how did she rediscover this passion after all these years?
Well, it was actually a chance encounter at the community garden that rekindled her love for music. One afternoon, while she was weeding a flower bed, she overheard a conversation between two volunteers. They were talking about a local music school that offered adult beginner piano lessons.
Talk about being in the right place at the right time. It's like the universe was conspiring to bring this opportunity to her doorstep.
It really does seem that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And Eleanor, you know, with that open-minded and adventurous spirit, decided to take a leap of faith. She signed up for the lessons, even though she hadn't, you know, touched a piano in decades.
I can only imagine how intimidating that must have been. To walk into a room full of strangers, to sit down at a piano after all those years, to feel the weight of all those, like, unfulfilled dreams. It must have been overwhelming.
It wasn't easy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Her fingers felt stiff and clumsy, the notes seemed foreign, and she struggled to keep up with the pace of the class. But there was something about being surrounded by music, about the feeling of her fingers dancing across the keys, that reawakened a part of herself that she thought she had lost.
It's like that saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. But Eleanor proves that it's never too late to learn, to grow, to rediscover the joy of passions, you know, we might have put on hold.
And it's not just about the skill itself.
Right.
It's about the process, the challenge, that sense of accomplishment that comes with learning something new. It's about proving to ourselves that we are capable of more than we think, that our minds and spirits remain vibrant and alive no matter our age.
Absolutely. So tell me, how did Eleanor's daughters react when they found out their mom was taking piano lessons? Were they surprised? Supportive?
They were a mixture of surprised, amused,
I bet,
and incredibly supportive. At first, they teased her gently about being a late bloomer, but they could see the sparkle in her eyes, that renewed sense of energy and enthusiasm that she had.
That's heartwarming to hear. It sounds like her daughters had come to, like, embrace her journey of self-discovery. And were genuinely happy to see her pursuing her passions.
They were. And as Eleanor's piano skills progressed, you know, she started sharing her music with her daughters and grandchildren. She would play for them at family gatherings, filling their home with beautiful melodies.
Oh, I love that.
That evoked memories and stirred emotions.
I love that image of Eleanor surrounded by her loved ones, sharing the gift of music, the joy of creating something beautiful. It's a testament to the ripple effect of pursuing our passions. How it not only enriches our own lives, but also touches the lives of those around us.
It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? And as Eleanor continued to play the piano, she discovered that it wasn't just about the music itself. It was about the connection, the shared experience, the way it could bridge generations and bring people together.
It sounds like she really found her stride, embracing her health, nurturing those meaningful connections, and rekindling her passion for music. But life is full of ups and downs, isn't it? Even with those treasures, were there still challenges Eleanor had to face?
Of course. Life is a journey, and even the most fulfilling paths have their share of bumps and detours. And for Eleanor, one of those detours came in the form of a loss that shook her to her core.
Oh no. I have a feeling this is where things take a turn. Tell me more. What happened?
Eleanor had a dear friend named Margaret, someone she'd met through the community garden.
Okay.
They'd become close confidants, sharing stories, laughter, support. Margaret was a few years older than Eleanor and lived alone. One day, Margaret didn't show up for their usual volunteer shift at the garden, which was unusual for her.
I can already sense a knot forming in my stomach. It sounds like something was wrong.
It was. Eleanor, concerned about Margaret's absence, decided to, check on her.
Okay.
She went to Margaret's house and knocked on the door, but there was no answer. She tried calling Margaret's phone, but it went straight to voicemail.
That feeling of dread, of knowing something is wrong but not knowing what, it's awful. What did Eleanor do next?
She went to the next-door neighbor, hoping they might know something. The neighbor, an elderly gentleman, said he hadn't seen Margaret in a few days, which was unusual. He mentioned that Margaret had been having some health problems recently.
Oh, dear. It sounds like Eleanor's concern was growing. What happened next?
Eleanor, now seriously worried, decided to call the police to do a welfare check. The police arrived and, after gaining entry into Margaret's house, found her. Well, they found her peacefully asleep in her armchair. She had passed away in her sleep. It was a heart-wrenching discovery for Eleanor.
Oh, how incredibly sad. I can only imagine how devastating that must have been for her. She had already lost her husband years ago. To lose such a close friend, especially in such a sudden and unexpected way, it must have been incredibly difficult.
It was a profound loss, and it brought to the surface a fear that Eleanor, and I think many of us, harbor as we age. The fear of dying alone, of being forgotten.
It's a universal fear, isn't it? That sense of vulnerability, knowing that our time is finite, and the worry that we might not have someone to share those final moments with.
Exactly. And it's a fear that can be magnified by the societal changes we're seeing. Increased mobility, families living further apart, and the breakdown of traditional community structure.
It's true. It's easier than ever to feel disconnected these days, even when we're surrounded by people. So how did Eleanor cope with this fear? With the grief of losing Margaret? Did her 3 treasures help her navigate this difficult time?
They did. In fact, Margaret's passing became a catalyst for Eleanor to lean even more deeply into the lessons she had learned.
I'm curious to hear how. What did she do?
Well, first and foremost, she turned to her support system, the friends she had made at the community garden, her daughters, and her fellow piano students. She allowed herself to grieve, to share her sadness and her fears, and to receive the comfort and love of those around her.
That's so important, isn't it? To allow ourselves to be vulnerable, to reach out for support when we need it. We don't have to go through difficult times alone.
Absolutely. And by leaning on her support network, Eleanor realized that she wasn't alone in her fears. Many of her friends had experienced similar losses and shared similar anxieties. And by talking openly and honestly about those feelings, they were able to comfort and support each other.
It's like that saying, a burden shared is a burden halved. By expressing our fears and vulnerabilities, we create space for connection and healing. So Eleanor reached out to her support system. What else did she do to cope with Margaret's passing?
Well, remember her love for music, her passion for the piano. She found solace and expression through playing.
Music has such a powerful way of connecting us to our emotions, doesn't it? It could be a source of comfort, of release, of transcendence.
Exactly. Eleanor would spend hours at the piano, pouring her grief and her love into the music. Sometimes she would play pieces that Margaret had enjoyed. Other times she would improvise, letting her emotions flow through her fingers and into the keys.
It sounds like a beautiful form of catharsis, honoring her friend's memory while also processing her own complex emotions.
It was. And through music, Eleanor found a way to transform her grief into something beautiful and meaningful. She even started composing her own pieces, inspired by her memories of Margaret and the lessons she had learned through their friendship.
It's amazing how creativity can emerge from even the darkest of times. It's like a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, our ability to find meaning and beauty even in the face of loss.
And Eleanor's music wasn't just a personal outlet, She shared it with others.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She started playing at local nursing homes and senior centers, bringing joy and comfort to those who might be facing their own challenges and losses.
That's so heartwarming. It's like she took her own pain and transformed it into something that could uplift and inspire others. It's a beautiful reminder that even in our later years, we can continue to grow, to learn, to connect, and to make a difference in the world.
And it all circles back to those 3 treasures, doesn't it? By prioritizing her health, nurturing her meaningful connections, and reigniting her passion for music, Eleanor created a foundation of strength and resilience that allowed her to navigate the inevitable challenges of life with grace and purpose.
It's such a powerful story, a testament to the transformative power of self-discovery. of embracing life's journey with an open heart, and a willingness to learn and grow. Eleanor's story is a reminder that it's never too late to create a life that's rich with meaning, purpose, and joy. And who knows, we might just inspire others along the way, just like Eleanor did.